Hello everyone, and welcome back to Strife Veteran Edition, where today we're going to enter this fortress, this factory, this building. And we are going to try to reach the end. We're just going to try and survive for once. And I'm going to use the sigil exactly once, because I can't find a use case for this thing. it's this particular form, it just doesn't work. I don't understand how to make it work. You just lose a lot of health when using it, and you don't really deal that much damage, except when it does. And when it does, it just insta-kills things, so it's fairly unreliable, but in the instance where it does work, it can be quite nice. There is a lot of different paths you can take through this level, so it's fairly easy to get lost because of that as well. There is a lot of enemies waiting for us up there and up there. We can probably shoot an acolyte from over here, over in the distance. There's a switch here that you can use to lower the water. And likely with the path we're taking, this is going to be effectively irrelevant, but it is technically an option. Next door, there is going to be an acolyte. There is going to be another Reaver waiting for us right here. A lot of health as well, which is nice. And a switch. And that switch will open up a secret area behind us. This one right here. It has a shadow armor and a surgery kit. And we are full up on surgery kit, so we might be able to pick that up later. After destroying that turret, we can drop some fire in here. Preferably not on ourselves, and preferably we end up destroying like one Reaver and maybe a Templar as well. That would be lovely. Really, I'm just postponing going to the next door because this next door has a new enemy type in it called the Inquisitor. It has been vaguely mentioned once. He shoots grenades at whatever, just tries to get you. He can fly towards you as well. The grenades are just horrendous, so we're going to try to not get hit, and we're going to use the Mauler's secondary fire to just try and kill these as quickly as possible. They die fairly quickly, all things considered, but it's very easy to die to them, and they are a force to be reckoned with. They can just insta-kill you if they so desire, and other times they're not as good. Like, they do try, generally, to fly towards you, and most of the time, I would say, they do an okay job at it. And then there's the rest of the time where the job's not done as well and they just sort of just fly into a wall. Hopefully we're going to see a little bit of that because it does make life a little easier. There is still a Templar there. I don't really want to use bullets because I'm running out. But at least we managed to harm him a bit. But I'd love that Templar to be dead so we don't have to worry about it later. There we go. We can use up just about any ammo type we want. It doesn't really matter too much. We could use a shadow armor as well, but I don't know if that's very wise right now because of a upcoming situation. So instead, let's just clear out the area here. There was one more acolyte. He's somehow still alive after one shot. You can actually see. Oh, I didn't actually know that. You can see an Inquisitor sort of clipping through the building there. I wonder if you can shoot him. Let's try this. I'm guessing the answer is probably not, unless you clip grenades through the wall, but strange. Anyway, that sort of gives away what's going to happen next. There is a thing here. This will take you to the lowered water, but it doesn't open for a while. So just ignore it for now. It'll become relevant kind of a bit later. But let's press this switch. It'll lower the wall with the Inquisitor. We can just sort of walk over here and the Inquisitor will hopefully fly towards us. And this is one of the things that the Inquisitor can do. It can try to come for you and sort of eventually succeed, and that's a worry when that happens, because if it actually manages to land on a platform, then it does become dangerous again. But occasionally it'll just fly in front of this window and you can just melee it to death. I'm not sure if the melee actually reaches in the Veteran Edition, if I'm being honest, because I was struggling to get it to hit. Also, I'm low on every type of ammo, so that's a bit concerning given I just said you can just use whatever you want. Kind of nullifies my point a bit, but that's okay. I'm surprised there's another Templar over there though, because we already killed two and usually that's the amount I see there, but fair enough, I suppose. Let's just move on. We got a couple different directions we can go here. We can go to these two doors. We'll come back to that. We can go to this place, which has a turret. It has a sentinel. There's a guy on the wall. We can lower this to continue with the level in a little bit. I'm gonna get my grenade launcher out to just shoot at that door, because there's a Templar inside there and I just want it to be gone. And also when you lower that wall, you can just barely see that sentinel over there, who we managed to destroy, so that's good. Very nice. There is a secret area you can reach here as well, but we'll come back to that in a little bit. I'm instead gonna go down the elevator to make this elevator accessible forever. This is where the secret area was. I guess we can just use that surgery kit now, actually. And since we opened all that stuff, we can go in here. This is one of the ways you can progress in the level, and we're just going to take this for now to get rid of some extra enemies. There is some Templars making a lot of noise, and I would like to get rid of those as distanceful and grenade infused as possible. It's just a little bit of a nicer way to deal with these enemies, I would say. And there is quite a lot of Templars in this room, so if you do have some grenades left, then fairly consistent way to get rid of all of them, I would say. Looking through the window, we should be able to see a couple enemies as well. We have gotten some of our Mauler ammo back, so that's nice. Because we entered this room and had these pillars lower, we can now go through that one pillar near the lowered water area, which is exactly what we're gonna do. We are going to go through this door to go back to the start of the level. This is where the upper area was, where the little turret is. Everything just sort of loops back on each other in the end. We did kill an enemy in this room earlier by just sort of almost randomly shooting upwards. But there was in fact one acolyte standing over here, which you can just barely see from down there. And going down this elevator will lower the beams for yet another shortcut through the level. So all in all, you have a lot of options. I did say earlier that this passage over here was going to become irrelevant. It kinda is, kinda isn't, because if you go all the way through the path, all the way down here as well, there is going to be a switch slightly further up ahead, and pressing that switch will allow you access to some shortcuts through the level as well. But there is also another way to access those shortcuts, which I am going to use instead for reasons that it's easier for me to remember where I have to go, because this level gets a little complicated. This is a secret area. You have to stand in a specific spot for it to say that, though, so be aware of that. Gonna go down here just to kill like 1 or 2 people and then leave. That's really the main reason why we're here. We have 80 bullets, so we can actually get rid of that Templar while we're here as well. Very nice, and maybe that Sentinel as well. Cool, and now we can go back again. That area, you do need a environmental suit if you go all the way in there to not take damage, so I'd rather just not bother and move on. Over here, there is a Templar waiting for us behind the door, who didn't feel like dying, so I'm just going to grab this surgery kit as well. We're never going to come back here anyway. Let's actually use the poison bolts, because we have a whole bunch of these for this hallway filled with acolytes. Very nice, and then over here there should be a sentinel waiting for us as well. It took a while to figure out how this level worked, because there is a lot. Remember this place? We're back at the start of the level again. Now we're gonna go down this elevator. I'm gonna lower it, and then I'm gonna shoot some grenades down, because quite frankly there's a lot going on there that I do not want to deal with from up close, so we'd rather not. Shoot grenades everywhere. That just destroy everyone. It works. It's very effective. There's a lot of sentinels really high up in the sky. And if you actually just want to beat the game, just go down that hallway. That's where you have to go. But there is still a lot. There's a lot going on here. There's a whole optional level and a whole optional extra level that we still have to go to after all. But Veteran Edition exclusive, once you've gone down this elevator, you can then go down, or rather up this elevator. I guess you could probably do this in Strife 1, but there's actually a little bit more to collect in the Veteran Edition specifically. Because if we go over here, there is going to be some Templars. I guess another Templar walked out of this room, because usually there's 2 Templars here. But there's also the blue cup. We have to pick that up because Timothy asked us 700 videos ago to pick this up for him, so that's exactly what we're going to do. And with Cuppeth in hand, we can move on through this hallway. Back up we go. There should be some ammo here for us to collect as well. Because of all the dead enemies, there's a Reaver there, which we might be able to just missile. Also a turret there. Just shoot a whole bunch of missiles in that direction, and eventually people will stop bothering you, so that's good. A lot of ways to get into this section up there. That is also part of the environmental suit requiring area. So many elevators all going to the same place. Ultimately, we want to press this switch to go to the other side here. Should be another turret here, and indeed there is. This... I forget where this leads, you know? I'm actually just going to check that out. Just ignore the Reaver over there for now. Right, this leads to this chamber where we could have entered this water section earlier. But for the purposes of destroying all the enemies, this makes it a little bit less complicated. That elevator goes to a level called the Forge, but we first have to go back to Timothy to say that we got his cup. So we have to do a small jumping puzzle here. This jumping puzzle becomes a little bit easier once you've done it, because if you go through this door, it's going to create some walkways and you don't have to worry about the jumping part so much. And when I mentioned earlier there were other ways to get those shortcut teleporters to activate, you can actually just lower this wall and walk through it, and that will make the shortcut available for you as well. So now we're back all the way at the start of the level, but there is still one unexplored room here. There is one Templar inside it. We could probably just go in. I'm out of grenades. That's phosphorus grenades, actually. We can just shoot him to death, that's fine. There's Mauler ammo here, and we can open up this passage back into the catacombs for the third time. There is a lot of shortcuts to the catacombs, and they're all great ways to get back to the commons. So we are going to make full use of that and use that to go back to Timothy, who in the non-veteran edition didn't have that much dialogue. In this version he has a little bit more. When you give him the cup, you can say that you want to keep the cup, and he'll say, I'm not giving you anything then, which is fair. But you can also after that say the first option. And then he says you can go to the forge, and one of the forge workers can open a door, and there's going to be some ancient things, and it's going to be wonderful. That's all we need from him. And with that, we are going back into the catacombs, onwards to the forge. If you don't do that, then yeah, you can't actually enter a veteran edition exclusive level. So definitely worthwhile. There's just a lot of resources in that level in general, but there's another reason to go there as well, as is implied. So let's do that. The forge is right near this exit. We don't need to use the shortcut, so that's nice. We can go up the elevator, and from there we can just move along. This is the forge. This level used to be in the original Strife, but it was just there was nothing really going on except getting resources, which is good. There was a lot of resources in here, so it's definitely worthwhile. I'm gonna just destroy a couple enemies here. There is a surgery kit over... Oh god, and a spider. There's definitely a spider there. There is a surgery kit over here. An enemy that went to a teleporter. There's a couple ways to get it. You can either use this to awkwardly jump. This does work. It's just not a great way to do it. You can also jump from up there. It's an area where we were previously. And it's not too impossible to do ultimately, so it's not too bad. I forget if these enemies are mad at me already. I mean, clearly this one is. Like, good god, but I think the acolytes might be okay with me still. Which does make life a little bit easier if we can help it. So let's just get rid of a couple of these. Stealthily, of course. We wouldn't want to anger the locals, but there is a Reaver coming our way, and I don't want to bother with it anymore. So I'm just going to shoot some grenades down there. Apparently we picked some up, and that will kill some acolytes as well. This room's a little odd. There is a big thing in the middle here, a big red thing. This is also environmental suit area, but only that very tiny room, so it doesn't really need an environmental suit if you just don't spend too long in that square. There is a button here to lower the big red thing, and if you walk over it, then you can go back to the button that lowered it for another scanner, which we can't pick up because we already have one, and a grenade launcher. Pretty odd. It's a strange sequence, and you don't really get that much in return, unfortunately. Still due to the fact that there's only been one map so far in the game, so we can't really use that scanner, unfortunately. There is going to be a Reaver here. There's going to be some Acolytes as well. A lot of grenades in this level, I'm realizing. There's usually also some ore down there, but I think I just blew it up with those grenades. That's all fine, don't worry about it. I should also mention there is an NPC in this level who is killable, and if you kill him then you can't go to the Veteran Edition exclusive level without cheating. So I don't recommend accidentally killing that enemy, or not even enemy, just a person. But I'll show him off when we get there. Open up the door for some more access to this big building. There is a Reaver here, and I've struggled to find him for some reason. Another Sentinel, which I'm stuck in. Oops. I think if I would have tried to jump there, it would have sent me flying off into the sky, as has happened a couple times. And then there is this structure right here. Usually there's a couple Acolytes, and indeed there are. And then there is this person right here, the Master Smithy. And if you have spoken to Timothy, or whatever his name is, then he is going to tell you a long story about the level. It contains a talisman. There was a comet that fell down in the past. It might have been a spaceship. There's a lot going on. I'll let you read it by pausing the video. I am not going to read all of that. I am sorry. Instead though, because we talked to him, that has opened up those holes in front of the elevator there. I'm just gonna make a quick sweep through this level one more time to make sure we got all the kills, but I'm pretty sure we did. This level is not that big, but there is some Acolytes still alive here, usually in here, for the main purpose that there is some stuff here as well. Usually there's another Acolyte here, but I think we got one of them with the grenades that we shot down earlier from up top. You can jump up top as well. There's just plenty of boxes stacked up to get back here. And then on this side there is also a shadow armor if you so desire. But I wish to go into the Veteran Edition level. First though, I'm just going to grab all the remaining things here. There is still some extra grenades in this little corner, some ammo usually dropped by an enemy. And with that we can move on into another part of the factory. This place is called the production portion of the factory. First we get into a room with even more resources, which kind of gives an idea what this level is going to be like. And then once we open this door, hell is going to break loose. So we're just going to grab our trusty Mauler with the secondary fire to get rid of these two enemies right here, and also just a lot of stuff on the sides. You can get pretty wild with the machine gun in this level, I would say, because there is a lot of machine gun ammo in this level, and it's honestly unlikely that you're going to run out. Once you walk through the door, the entrance of this level is going to close, but fortunately there is a button slightly up ahead that opens the entrance again for the rest of the level, so no real worries there. Let's just get rid of that Sentinel as well, and there is going to be one Inquisitor immediately around the corner here. Hopefully we can one-shot it, and indeed we did. Sometimes they die in one hit, especially when they're on the floor, I feel, and you just shoot them head on. Other times they don't. It's a little hard to predict at times. Just gonna shoot some grenades in that room. And there is another shadow armor waiting for us up here, and there's a couple different ways to get it. You can just jump to it regularly. You can jump from this elevator as well. You can jump from here, but this is tricky. This is kind of far away and hard to do, but there is one more thing you can do, which I didn't really point out because I wasn't sure if it was a bug or not. But it seemed to work in Chocolate Strife, and that's my reasoning to say that this is intended. You can put ore in front of places and then use it as little stepping stones, provided that you jump quick enough. I think if you... Well, you can actually just stay on top of it. But if you run into it, you just pick it up. But if you are standing on top of it, then you can just use it as a platform. You can stack these things as well if you so desire. Like, you can do a lot with those things. And that probably gives more opportunities than I am even aware of. But yeah, that's a thing you can do, and it's actually pretty good to get up to certain spots, so pretty nice. One switch here lowers that middle part with another Inquisitor. The other one is going to open the entrance of this level. I'm trying not to get grenaded in the face here. Usually when this guy sort of sits in front of this, he just decides to die shortly afterwards and not really shoot at me, so Indeed, that is the case again today. And after pressing the switch to lower this middle platform, it also lowers this door, but it takes quite a while to lower. So you can't just run there immediately and just skip the Inquisitor entirely, unfortunately, because it takes so long to open, but it's not particularly a dangerous place, so we're just going to move on from here. This brings us to the next section. There is once again a lot of bullets that I'm not even decided to pick up because it's just, I don't really feel like walking towards it. A lot of enemies here we can take care of stealthily, which is nice. There's one more spider. And after that, we can take care of the acolytes and have a nice day. One thing I guess I forgot to mention as well is that in GZ Doom, the jumping on top of these ores isn't possible, but you can rocket jump in GZ Doom, so nothing really matters that much because you can just fly everywhere. From up here, you can hit a couple more enemies nice and stealthily. That guy was probably an enemy as well, don't worry about it. It's pretty far away at times, but fair enough. You can jump on top of this box to get that ammo and environmental suit for free, which is nice because there is another way to get it, which requires jumping down from up there, but you take a decent chunk of damage when you do, and that's just not great. And then over here there is some rockets as well, alongside some grenades, so pretty good. I'm also just going to pick up some of the health here, actually, because there is so many resources on this level. It is absolutely worthwhile to visit, even if you're not going for the Veteran Edition specific thing, so pretty good. You can, over here as well, skip a chunk of the level by just jumping on top of a rock. You can press this switch if you so desire, but let's, for the purposes of doing this level somewhat normally, not do that and press this switch instead. We can use it to get on top of this elevator, where there is plenty of enemies, and from this point on we're no longer going to be stealthy, we're just going to start shooting everything. There is a lot of machine gun ammo here, so we're just going to use a bunch of that to get rid of various things. At this point in the game, you can pretty much just hold the attack button as well with a lot of weapons, because your accuracy is just so good now that even if you're just holding the attack button, you're pretty much always going to be hitting, so it doesn't really matter as much anymore, and puts you in a nice situation where you really don't have to worry so much about your aim. You just have to vaguely aim at the direction of an enemy, and then the game will more or less do the job. Now there is yet another thing you can do here to skip a decent chunk of the level. Let's first just get rid of some of these spiders while we're nice and close to them. You can jump over there, and that jump I feel is a little tricky. I'm going to try it exactly once. But if you do this, then you sort of skip half the level. It does help if you get stuck in this place, because it's not always immediately obvious where you have to go. But from here you can also catch some other enemies off guard, just jump in from behind them and slash them to pieces, which is just a nicer way to deal with them. So I am going to take a little bit of advantage of it, but for the most part not actually take any routes that I'm more or less not supposed to take, because this just takes you back to where I was coming from. This door is usually just locked, so you can't actually go through it, but if you just jump over there, then you can. Yeah, it's a nice little detail ultimately. But the normal route that you are, I suppose, supposed to take is first we're going to deal with some Templars and some Sentinels, and I think there's a Templar in that room. He's already dead. Cool. Very nice. Just going to make sure that all the enemies that are actually dangerous are gone before going back to the fun part of the game, which is of course just running around wildly. Pressing this switch down here will open up a door that is blocked by some pipes. I will show it off in a second. It is in the water. It is surprisingly difficult to find if you're not specifically looking for it. Also, there's probably some spiders up here. Yeah. After killing these enemies, there should be a door down here that has now become available. Going through this door allows you access to some stuff and also a switch. That switch is necessary to complete the level. All the switches that I'm pressing are more or less required unless you skip half the level, as you may be able to imagine, I suppose. But it also opens up some sentinels Including, if you're quick enough, then you can just follow the sentinels to figure out where you have to go next on this one at least, so that's kind of nice. But that does bring you to this sequence where we were previously, because we did a jump that just skipped that entire room. You can talk to every person here, but none of them have anything to say beyond generic peasant dialogue, I do believe, so I'm not really too interested. But from here, we can actually continue on with the level. There is going to be some sentinels here. I think there's going to be one more Inquisitor, and I'm not 100% sure where he is, so hopefully that's not going to be a problem. I did a decent amount of preparation, but not like infinite, so yeah, it is what it is. There is indeed a sentinel over there, or Inquisitor rather. So we're just going to shoot these. He does kill Crusaders, so that's kind of a positive, I suppose, because he just shoots through everything and he does so much damage. But it is a little bit scary nonetheless, even though he gets rid of some of the scarier enemies. So keep that in mind. We actually went all the way back up to 32 grenades, and at one point we were out in this video, so that kind of gives you an idea of how much ammo that you're getting in this place, and that's quite lovely. Now going over here, there is some more gold waiting for you up top of box. There is a switch here, which brings you to this room with the map and the switch that I said earlier we shouldn't press yet because we placed an ore in front of a wall. But we can just press that now. There's the map. So because we have the map, we can actually use the scanner now, which is exciting because this is actually a level that has a map. Let's not get killed because of it though. But if we use the scanner here, we can use that. And then if we look at the map, all the red arrows are things that could be enemies. So keep that in mind. Generally, though, they are not. But there is some enemy adjacent things here and there. I'm just going to set this entire top area on fire as much as possible. Because I don't really want to deal with it. And then later we'll just put on an environmental suit and not have to worry about it. There's a lot of Templars up here, and yeah, they all suck. So they get the fire treatment. Let's use the environmental suit, and over here, once again, we do have to kill all the Crusaders to continue, or we can place an ore in a strange place. Because a little bit further up ahead, once we've dealt with these Templars and Crusaders, there is going to be the final artifact waiting for us right up there on that pedestal. And you can place an ore in front of it and just jump on top of it and skip killing all the Crusaders because that just works. But instead we are just going to kill the Crusaders because we are still on a journey to get rid of everyone ultimately. Plus it does make life a little bit easier to kill these first before picking that up, because the moment you pick that up it is going to free a whole bunch of Templars in the level. And that's not ultimately a great thing, so let's just get rid of the strong enemies first. There is actually some stuff waiting for you in the water as well. God, I'm just taking the wall here. There is some stuff here, there is some gold waiting for you on this side, and I think there is some gold on the other side as well. Not a whole lot, but definitely enough to like buy like a surgery kit or something, so it's not too bad. But the artifact has now lowered, we can run forward, and now we have super strength, as it says at the top of the screen. And it is not kidding. The melee attack that we have now will now insta-kill basically every enemy in the game that can be hit by a melee attack. And as you can probably imagine, that's a pretty good deal. Also, the scanner that we had lasts for 80 seconds. So that's gone now. But, you know, if we could pick up the other scanner and have it be useful for another 80 seconds, I suppose. So there is that. There's also a bunch of teleporters in the level available now that bring you back to this room, which is just a nice little shortcut. Very good. Let's just get rid of everything here. And that should be that. So this insta-kill power, we're just going to keep that forever. That is ours now for the rest of the game. I'm assuming that if you drop one of the artifacts, it goes away. Haven't actually tested it, and I won't. Not in this video, at least, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, it's pretty good. It's an insta-kill stealth weapon that we have available now. And since we do have that available, I'm going to take this back there. I'm actually, you know what? I'm going to take that scanner with me. For the main purposes of validating that I actually got everything a little bit later on. Although I don't think I can even use it beyond that one level where we got the mapping. But you know, at least we picked up the scanner. That's got to count for something. There's only so many of them in the game. And I don't want them to be neglected as much as they probably are in normal people's playthrough. So let's just at least take it and move on. We're going to go back to the comments one final time. And we're going to test out how good it is to have a stealth insta-kill melee attack. As it turns out, it's a pretty good deal. It does work fairly well. Also, I said in a previous video, while we try to just test out our attack here, that you can kill Richter or press the button that's behind him. And apparently that's a veteran edition thing. That would open up the door to the catacombs here, because I'll just shoot that later. Apparently in the original Strife, if you tried to do that, then if you killed him, the door wouldn't open, and the button wasn't actually attached to anything. So the button was there, it just didn't do anything. So that's fairly unusual for sure, but yeah, fair enough. I wasn't actually aware of that. But that's how you learn, by just continuously reading over and over about the same game. Anyway, there is so much order here to remove from society, and again, as long as you are giving them the killing blow with your melee attack or whatever weapon you're using, as long as it's a stealth weapon, which consists of one of two weapons ultimately. As long as it kills, the rest of the people in the room aren't going to attack you, because they ultimately don't consider you seen. So this is a pretty good, pretty safe way to get rid of all of the enemies here, or at least for the most part, because some of the turrets are obviously a little bit tricky to hit. It is possible to hit some of them with the jumps that I was trying to do. I think you can get this one as well. Yeah, there you go. But that's okay. And we'll just do our best. We're gonna just see how far we can get by just running around here and smashing everything to pieces. Usually there is one, I think, in like near the door to the catacombs that I tend to miss. So let's actually just double check if there is an enemy there that I've just never seen before. I usually just figure out that he's there later. It's just a little awkward, but god, this is so much. This is Veteran Edition exclusive, and it just completely rebalances the game with a single weapon, because you, even against Inquisitors, you can just run up to them and punch once and they'll be gone. It's incredible. Obviously, if you get shot by a grenade during that, that's not wonderful, but it's a pretty effective way to deal with most things, honestly. So I definitely recommend trying to go for this in Maesel's path. There is a note to be had about the Oracle path as well, but we'll get to that in the next video, because I have done a little bit of preparation for that video, and quite frankly, I'll be quite surprised if it ends up being completely cohesive, so that's going to be exciting. Hey, we actually got the jump that time. We just had to walk away from it a little bit. There should be a docks area here somewhere with a couple more enemies. There's at least a couple more gun turrets. I know you can get these with the jump like that, but honestly, if I don't get it the first try, I'm just gonna leave them alone. There is usually 70 enemies in this place, which again is a pretty good reason as to why you would want to take this a little bit carefully and a little bit stealthily, because it ultimately does make life just a little bit easier to not have everyone be attacking you all the time, as you can probably imagine. So at this point, I'm actually just gonna set off the alarm. By shooting that random peasant, but also this turret, hopefully, at one point. Apparently my rockets didn't want to shoot in that direction. The stores are now no longer available until the alarm goes off, but we can get rid of the remaining turrets in this section that we were unable to shoot otherwise. It's only a couple of them. There's like that one, and then the one next to the factory, I do believe. This one right here. And I don't know why these are so difficult to hit sometimes, but they truly are, and I don't fully understand why that's the case. But from the sounds of things, that looks like it cleared up most of the order here, so that's pretty good. I'm not hearing anyone anymore, at least. If there is still enemies, I'll probably just like do one final sweep in the final video or something like that, where I just get all the remaining stuff and then continue on with the end of the game, because the next video is most likely going to be the last one of this series. No, that one's still there. Because we're nearing the end of the game. There is just not that much left of the game to do ultimately, so yeah, fair enough. Alright, so I'm gonna assume everyone's dead, because quite frankly, I've punched a lot of people this day. It's probably not a bad idea to go back and like collect some extra ammo from the shops and things, because gold from this point on becomes a little bit less valuable, I would say, but it's okay. We got plenty of ammo from the Veteran Edition level right there. We're mostly stocked up on things, I would say. So all in all, that's pretty good. From here, we can take this teleporter and then take this one. That'll put us right where we need to be.
Being vain as hell, they mark their temples with big banners.
Indeedly, that's probably vanity. And with that, we can end the video, because this next area will be pretty much the final run to the end. So I hope you all enjoyed it so far. Next time we play, we are going to go through the Proving Grounds, and I will see you all there. Bye bye.